Good afternoon, everyone. Time now is 5:32, August 22nd, 2019. I call to order the board meeting for Orleans Parish Schools. Interpretation services are provided.
Hola, buenas tardes. Soy Amelia, la intérprete del español. Si alguien necesita interpretación al español, me avisa y le doy unos auriculares para escuchar. Gracias.
Chào toàn thể quý vị, tôi tên là Việt, tôi là thông dịch viên. Nếu quý vị cần thông dịch, xin cho tôi biết, tôi sẽ giúp quý vị. Cảm ơn. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance is being led today by the Jones siblings from Hines Elementary. Javis
Brown?
Bengo. Yes.
Can we get a roll call?
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call. I was trying to introduce our presenters today. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ashley.
Present.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Ms. Ellison.
Here.
Mr. Cleveland.
Here.
Mr. Koppel. Mr. Marshall.
Here.
Ms. New Houston.
Here.
Also present is Dr. Henderson Lewis Jr. and Sharonda Williams, Board Counsel. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have, again, we have three of our students, Jones siblings from Hines. Javius, is it Javius or Javius? Javius, Mingo, fourth grader. Which one is Javius? Raise your hand, okay. Amari Jones, okay, sixth grader. And Anthony Jones, eighth grader. Everyone, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Adoption of the agenda. Going to recognize you? Okay. Adoption of the agenda. Do we have any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda?
Move to adopt the agenda as printed.
Okay, have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, the motion carries. We move right on to the superintendent's agenda.
Thank you, Board President Brown, and good evening, everyone.
We didn't adopt the minutes.
Tonight, my report will focus on several important topics, including honoring our excellent educators, high school voter registration, enrollment priorities, and an update on John F. Kennedy High School. But before we begin, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for Nancy Parker, local Fox 8 News anchor. We recently worked with Ms. Parker on August 1st at the Stuff the Bus supply drive. She was a pillar of our community and a huge loss to the city of New Orleans. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. So before I continue with my report, to go back and adopt the minutes.
No, we didn't. We could do it now, or you can do it after the report, either one. Okay.
We didn't have it on the agenda. Okay.
Yeah, what's your pleasure, Mr. President?
We'll do it after.
Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and continue. So this evening, I would like to share several updates regarding John F. Kennedy High School and New Beginning School Foundation. First, as I promised in June, NOLA Public Schools has spent this past summer carefully assessing all relevant facts related to Pacific wrongdoing and allegations at John F. Kennedy High School and New Beginning School Foundation. At this time, I can share that the report on our investigation is in its final stages and will be released soon. Second, I'd like to share the most recent information collected by my team regarding the status of graduation eligibility for students at John F. Kennedy High class of 2019. My team has been working to track students' progress towards receiving their diplomas through ongoing direct engagement with the staff at New Beginnings, School Foundation, and the Louisiana Department of Education. This evening, I can share the following details regarding the students. 178 students were a part of the 2018-2019 senior cohort of students and were in the class of 2019 at John F. Kennedy High School. 85 students graduated in May of 2019. Of those students that did not graduate in May, 40 students have been deemed eligible for graduation after having completed summer school. 15 students have signed waivers that will permit them to be eligible for graduation. Those waivers are pending approval from the Louisiana Department of Education. 3 students are currently enrolled in John F. K in order to complete their outstanding coursework. 6 students have enrolled in other high schools to complete their requirements. And that leaves 29 students that must complete various other requirements to be eligible for graduation at this time. We continue to work with New Beginning School Foundation and the State Department of Education to track these students' progress towards graduation. So to this end, once we were informed that New Beginning's decision to surrender the charter for JFK on July 18, 2019, we quickly initiated the process to identify a new charter operator in order to provide clarity to JFK families on the future of the school. Based upon our engagement with eligible high school charter operators, along with students, parents, and alumni of JFK community, tonight I would like to announce that I am formally granting the authority to manage John F. Kennedy High School to KIPP New Orleans starting in the 2020-21 school year. KIPP is a proven operator and who sets high expectations for its students, delivers on their promises to students and families, and have shown it is committed to honoring the legacy of its high schools, specifically Booker T. Washington High School and Frederick Douglass High School. I believe this organization will respect and care for the John F. Kennedy students along with the history and look forward to celebrating the success of these students and the school in the years to come. Although I maintain this situation is more than disappointing, our focus has been and continues to be ensuring JFK students receive the educational experience and support they need. To this end, we initiated an expedited citing process to help clarify the JFK families once we were informed of that decision. So again, this concludes my report for this evening around John F. Kennedy. At this time, I'm going to ask Kathy Tony Chase to come up so that we can recognize our state principal of the year and the Louisiana State Teacher of the Year finalists.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. I will start with our Teacher of the Year finalist, Ms. Jessica Bro. Jessica Bro currently serves as a 6th grade English language arts teacher at Edward Hines Charter School in New Orleans, Louisiana. In 2012, she graduated as a university medalist and earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in English secondary education from Louisiana State University and is going into her 8th year teaching middle school English language arts. Ms. Bro has had the honor of serving at Edward Hines Charter School in Orleans Parish for the past 3 years. She strongly believes that positive relationships with all students, families, co-workers, and other stakeholders are the fundamental building blocks of achieving excellence in education. She is dedicated to serving her students both inside and outside of the classroom as a National Junior Honor Society advisor and heart and soul coach. She is a natural and supportive leader who provides valuable guidance to her team by serving as a middle school instructional team facilitator. Her passion and commitment to teaching are embedded in three essential goals: helping all students achieve their full potential as learners and leaders, cultivating a love of reading and writing in all students, while instilling in them a sense of self-worth and developing her own skills to become a strong educator who develops positive relationships with students and understands the community she serves. Ms. Bro, would you please come forward? The board members would like to greet you, and we have a small token of our sincere appreciation for you. Hines family. Everybody. Oh, he wants it back. Family. Congratulations. Now for our Principal of the Year, Ms. Jennifer Dennis Carey. Jennifer Dennis Carey is the school leader of KIPP East Community Primary in New Orleans, Louisiana. She found KIPP East in 2014, starting with a team of 10 dedicated educators and 100 kindergarten students. Under her leadership, the staff has grown to a team of 60, and the school now serves approximately 560 students in pre-kindergarten through 4th grade. Last year, KIPP East's first year to participate in state testing, LEAP 2025 results placed the school in the top 10 elementary schools in New Orleans, including selective enrollment schools. KIPP East was also recognized as a top-performing high-poverty school, meaning the school scored in the top 20% of Louisiana schools that serve a population greater than 75% economically disadvantaged students. Before founding KIPP East, Carey began working with KIPP New Orleans 12 years ago as a 5th grade reading teacher. Compelled to be part of the system-wide change that was occurring in the city, previously she worked for Teach for America and taught 2nd grade in the South Bronx in New York City. Ms. Carey received a bachelor's degree in political science from Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, and a master's degree in teaching from Pace University in New York. Ms. Carey, would you please come forward? The board would like to greet you, and we have a small token of appreciation for you. Thank you.
Before they go. Give them this. Before they go.
So we're very proud to have a State Principal of the Year as well as a teacher finalist for the past year. We look forward to seeing many of our other educators recognized by the State Department of Education in the near future. Another bright spot for our district occurred just this morning at the 3rd annual citywide summer graduation. We celebrated the accomplishment of 27 students who earned their high school diploma. This is an extra special celebration because it provides a ceremony for all graduates who could not participate in graduation at their high schools, but now met all Louisiana standards for a high school diploma. These graduates embodied the persistence necessary for success. Several of them are legacy graduates, which means they enrolled in high school a long time ago, some almost 30 years ago, but experienced personal hardships that derailed them from graduating on time. Overcoming challenges to rise to the occasion is something we want every student to learn while being educated here in New Orleans. It's important to let our students know that we care about their accomplishment and that their persistence is valuable. Another important outreach effort will soon be underway. Last year, the board passed a resolution designating an entire week for voter registration in our high schools. We collaborated with the Lower Ninth Ward Voters Coalition and the mayor of the City of New Orleans Office of Youth and Families to hold voter registration drives in our high schools. This year, we are doing more. High School Voter Registration Week will be August 23rd through September 10th. This time is of utmost importance because it gets students started on the path of civic responsibility. I encourage all schools to make the opportunity to become a registered voter available during these weeks. I also want all families to encourage their children to become registered voters. If your child is at least 17 years old, he or she can register to vote. It is our duty. One final note from me, we have heard from the community and appreciate families, keeping families together. This enrollment season, siblings will have the highest priority in our enrollment system. More detail will come as the common enrollment system will open for the 2021 school year later this fall. Thank you for your time and attention tonight, and I turn the floor back over to President Brown. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. Before we go on with the rest of the agenda, let's have the minutes approved.
Move to approve the minutes as printed and waive the reading.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We do have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, minutes pass. Superintendent? I just wanted to recognize Superintendent. He's had to step out, but I want to bring him back just for a second, just to say how much I'm impressed with the graduation, summer graduation. We had not had summer graduations in years. As most of you know, I've been an educator for many, many years, for 30 years, and we did not have that. This graduation this morning at the Jazz Market was just outstanding. And those of you who prepared that event, it just was really, really outstanding. I just want to congratulate and just thank you for having that thought to have these young people. How many young people did we have graduate?
27.
27 of them who graduated from the various high schools this morning. Parents and relatives and friends and neighbors turned out. It was really, really an impressive occasion this morning. So thank you, Superintendent. Thank those of you, members of the staff who served and made it possible. So I want to thank you again.
If I may add, in addition to the staff, I also want to thank Ms. Mavia Alice Marcellus, who actually worked daily to find students, whether it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that attended public school here in New Orleans and may have finished all of their coursework, but by the time they were ready to graduate, and I'll say like when I was in high school, it was the GE. And so there are many individuals that probably are still walking around the city of New Orleans that may have met all graduation requirements but could not pass the state exam many years ago. And what we want to say is to our community and to our families, if you are out there and you attended school here in the city of New Orleans and was not able to graduate because of deficiency, whether it was credits or whether it was a state exam, come and see us. Come see Ms. Mavia Alice Marcellus so that we can see where you are and be able to, just like we did on today. We had a young lady who I graduated from high school in 1992. We had one individual today that should have graduated from high school in 1992, and she graduated today. Because what happened is this. When students get to the end of the school year of their senior year and they do not meet the requirement, and maybe it's just one state, maybe it was the MAT state exam, they fail, and they may have failed it multiple times. They're discouraged, they disconnect, and they just move on. And this young lady decided that she was going to contact us, find out what she needed to do. She set for the state assessment, she passed it, and she received her high school diploma 27 years later. So again, I appreciate Mr. Brown for you acknowledging the ceremony, but I also want people to know what we're doing for not just the students that are in school today, but students that may have attended our school system years ago, and making sure that they get their high school diploma. And I tell young people or individuals all the time, once you have that, it's yours. And so again, it was a great day, and we look forward to continuing to find those additional members in our community that also need that assistance so they can also celebrate in that moment as well. Thank you, Board President Brown.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. And we had, who's the young lady? Want to introduce the young lady who emceed this morning?
Yes, so our administrative intern, Antoinette, please
Yes.
stand up.
Yes, she did
So
a
she
great
did a
job.
fabulous
Great
job. Valedictorian of McDonald 35 High School 2017. And so she is doing a great job here. She did her summer intern with us, and she's also interning with us this fall. And we really appreciate her for everything she continued to do. And actually, it makes me feel old because many times she is helping us see a better way of doing things sometime here in the district, and we really appreciate her for that.
Thank you again. Moving right on to action items. I yield to the Board Council.
Action item 4.1, Resolution 1119, fiscal year 2019-2020 consolidated budget. It is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board approves Resolution 1119, adopting the consolidated operating budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2019 and ending June 30th, 2020.
I move to accept action item 4.1 resolution and waive the reading of the resolution.
Okay, we have a motion. Waiving the reading. Do we have a second?
A second.
We do have a second.
We have one comment card, Luna Hankins.
Good evening. I reviewed your budget with the lens of the fact that there are 31,500 students in C or lower schools. And it is that scrutiny that of this education crisis that has me a bit concerned, particularly when I look at your head count in the special needs and exceptionalities. There's like at least 30 employees there, and you have another 9 employees in accountability. And I'm really concerned about who's doing that compliance to make sure children are getting what they need as it relates to special special needs and exceptionalities. Recently, there was 2 articles in the newspaper highlighting the fact that children were not being served properly, and some of the responses that came from the district had a level of callousness to them, particularly when it relates to the gifted kid and, oh, we just tell parents, we notify parents of what schools offer gifted services, and charters aren't required to offer gifted services. But for those of you who are parents and have ever been through that process, to tell a parent to just move their child to a different school that may have gifted services after the child has been in school for 2 to 3 years, established friends, established a rapport, there's a problem with you being 100% charter school district and not providing those services and making sure that all schools are providing those services regardless of the exceptionality. I think y'all need to really look at that and fix that in your operating agreements with your charters.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Ashley,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Ellison,
Yes.
Mr. Cleben, Mr. Koppel,
Yes.
Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
Ms. New Houston.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Action item 4.2, adoption of OPSB Policy HA. It is recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board approves the amendment to Policy HA that all school buses transporting students attending Orleans Parish authorized charter schools that are leased or directly operated by the charter organization shall meet the requirements set forth in New Orleans City Code of 1995, Article 16.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
We have 2 comment cards. Dr. Ken Ducote.
Ken Ducote of the GNO Collaborative, 2401 West Bend Parkway, Suite 3040. Certainly in support of this, I just wanted to point out that this is one of the many provisions that resulted from the negotiations of the school district staff, the school leaders, and the city administration in trying to come up with improvements to student safety. And it's not just a regulation that's in your policy for the purpose of enforcement, but rather it's actually a goal and vision to try to improve that safety. And everybody's working together on the logistics of trying to make the regulation, given the unique school district that we have, to come up with a unique mechanism in order to ensure that safety. Thank you.
Next, Lona Hankins.
So in reviewing the policy that was attached on the internet to your minutes, I'm somewhat troubled how 40% of a charter board could reside outside of New Orleans. Specifically, when they don't, New Orleans has unique transportation challenges, and so you have board members who could, on a 7-member board, that means 3 of them could reside in Russia or in Iowa or New York and have no idea about the complexities of New Orleans. Additionally, I think as I reviewed this policy as it relates to your schools with academic excellence, I am curious how often your department reviews the requirements that allows them to maintain their academic requirements if they are grade A or top 10 in the state, top 10% in the state, and how often you publish that they are still doing that, still maintaining that. Because there's another thing for at-risk students where if a charter converted, then they're supposed to maintain what they had prior to the conversion. So if you go back and you look at the schools that are have admissions requirements, today I doubt many of them meet the requirement they had pre-Katrina. I know the school my kid attends probably doesn't have that. And so how are you going to compensate for that in the next charter contract that you're about to renew? So additionally, there's a comment in here about schools allowing parents, reimbursing parents, and I think you need to come up with whatever that rate is for reimbursing parents for transportation. If you're going to allow them to use their private transportation, is that at the federal tax rate per mileage? How does that work? because some parents, that cost may not be even across the city.
Thank you, that's your time. That's the last card.
Comment. Just want to remind the general public that school zones are in effect, and to pay attention to our babies as they're crossing the street. Get off the cell phones because you can be easily distracted. And I think that during this time, we want all of our kids to be safe as they cross the streets, as they get off exit buses and get on buses, that all of our kids are safe as they go to and from school. Thank you.
No further cards. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries.
Action item 4.3, adoption of OPSB policy DCBB. The policy committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board approves the proposed policy to create and manage a district system-wide needs program.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second.
We have-
Marshall.
Mr. President, I'd like to offer a substitute motion, if I may. Just to insert the words on page 43, number 1, under the section called collaboration with school leaders.
43.
And to add the words so that it reads, district administration shall distribute a survey to all school leaders, comma, parent advisory council members, comma, student advisory council members, comma, and then the rest would stay intact.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to amend. Do we need comments first? Do we have comment?
Yep. Dr. Ken Ducote.
Ken Ducote, GNO Collaborative, 2401 West Bend Parkway. The reason I'm addressing this is, again, I'm speaking in favor of the policy, but when the whole discussion was initially had about this system-wide program, I urged the board to make sure that there was going to be a lot of transparency in the process. It's the same kind of transparency that was envisioned in the other programs that this originally emanated from. And I just wanted to say that it does, in fact, provide for that kind of transparency, even more so with the amendment. So I did want to say that I think we're on a good start and look forward to participating on this as we go through the next couple of years. Thank you.
Okay.
Lona Hankins.
On the last page of this policy, it says that procuring materials and services and other supports from district-approved vendors, district-approved organization and vendors. I think there needs to be some level of transparency on how somebody gets to be a district-approved vendor, particularly when you're talking about a system-wide needs fund. There may be some organizations that provide services throughout the city for your desires, but may not be an approved vendor, or I mean, that's just such a nebulous term to me. How do you, is it because I know you, I get to be a district approved? What's the qualification to be a district approved? How does that work? I think you need to put some more teeth around that.
No further. Okay, we have amendment.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second for the amendment.
We did get a second.
Mm-hmm.
We did get a second. We have
Yes.
a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries.
And now we've got a motion and a second to adopt the policy as amended.
As amended,
Yes.
okay, we have a motion,
So moved.
Second.
and we have a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries.
Action item 4.4, that the Orleans Parish School Board amends its 2019 meeting schedule to change the September committee meetings and board meeting to the fourth week of September. Specifically, committee meetings should be held on Tuesday, September 24th, 2019, starting at 1 p.m., and the board business meeting to be held on Thursday, September 26th, starting at 5:30 p.m.
Okay.
So moved.
Did we get a motion from Mr. Koppel? Did we get a second?
Move.
Okay, Mr. Marshall, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition to this? Hearing none, 4.4 passes.
Action item 4.5, the Budget Committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board adopt the revised salary schedules.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second.
No cards.
No cards here. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, 4.5 passes.
Item 4.6, the Budget Committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board adopts Resolution 12-19, authorizing check signatories for checking accounts utilized by the Orleans Parish School Board.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Waiving, there's a resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, motion, waiving the reading. Do we have a second? We
Second.
do have a second.
No cards.
No cards. Roll call.
Mr. Ashley? Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Ellison? Mr. Cleveland? Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Ms. Newusen?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Action item 4.7, renewal of the Orleans Parish School Board stop-loss carrier for self-funded health plan. The Budget Committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board renews the agreement with Houston Casualty Company as the stop-loss carrier for the self-funded health insurance plan.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second.
No cards.
No cards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, that motion carries.
Action item 4.8, the Budget Committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board approves renewal of the agreement with UMR, a United Healthcare Company, as the third-party administrator for the Orleans Parish School Board self-funded health plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. No cards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, 4.8 passes.
Action item 4.9, the Budget Committee recommends that the Board accept the donation from Jewish Endowment Foundation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
No cards on this?
Cards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries.
Action item 4.10, the Budget Committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board exercises its option to extend the contract for educational and therapeutic services with the Center for Resilience for 1 year and approve the Center for Resilience performance measures to be added to the contract.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
No cards.
No cards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, 4.10 passes.
Action item 4.11, the Budget Committee recommends approval of contract modification number 7 to increase the architect's fees for Phase 1 of the Benjamin Franklin Jefferson Campus project by $45,211.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, 4.11 passes.
Action item 4.12, the Budget Committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board approve the use of the designers as selected under Request for Qualifications number 19-0023, and for purposes of the record, the agenda lists number 4 Duplantis and Merrick, but the actual company is Duplanche and Merrick Architects LLC. And the agenda lists number 9 Mark L. Baum, but it's actually Mark I. Baum Architects LLC.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
We have
Second
a
with
motion
the
and
correction.
and a second correction,
With the corrections.
with the correction, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, 4.12 passes.
I would like to note that I'm recused from that vote.
Okay.
Okay, action item 4.13, the Property Committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board authorize LTFC Olympic LLC to apply for historic tax credits for the McDonough 19 facility and to execute the application as the owner's representative, as well as authorizes the board president to execute a letter of no objection to the organization's request for certification from the National Park Service and Louisiana State Historic Preservation Office.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
No cards.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, 4.13 passes.
Action item 4.14, the Legal Committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board authorizes the General Counsel to formally register the trade name NOLA Public Schools with the Louisiana Secretary of State, as well as all related logos and trademarks.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. 4.14 passes.
Action item 4.15, the Legal Committee recommends that the Orleans Parish School Board grant the request of law firm of Capel Clark LLC to waive any potential conflict of interest arising from its representation of the Orleans Parish School Board while also representing the New Beginning School Foundation, Inc., a co-defendant and potentially adverse party in an OPSB litigation matter, and authorizes the General Counsel to execute the necessary documents to effect such a waiver, with such waiver being revocable if a conflict arises.
So moved.
We have a motion. Can I get a second? Can I get a second? Did we get a second?
Yes.
Okay, we did get a second. Okay. You have card? No cards. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. 4.15 passes.
Executive session.
Okay, time now is 6:13. May I have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's move to executive session, everyone. Motion to reconvene. Going to get a motion to reconvene.
So moved.
Motion, do we get a second?
Second.
Have a second. Roll call.
Mr. Ashley, Mr. Brown,
Here.
Ms. Allison,
Here.
Mr. Cleben, Mr. Koppel,
Present.
Mr. Marshall,
Here.
Ms. New Houston.
Here.
Also present is Dr. Henderson Lewis Jr., Sharonda Williams. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to Board Counsel.
The board convened an executive session to discuss item 5.1, prospective litigation regarding the Hines construction project. It's recommended that the Orleans Parish School Board approves the legal strategy recommended by its legal counsel in this matter.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Board Counsel, do we have any further business?
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion to end this meeting. Do we have a second? Second. And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone.